Hello Year 13 and welcome along to this video on, we're going to focus on section D of your controlled assessment. Now, I know from speaking to quite a few of you this week, you haven't maybe made too much of a start on section D. This next week or two presents you with a really good opportunity, whilst without being able to make, you can set out section D really well. And you can get all of the structure in place for your portfolio. And there's quite a few things you can do which aren't directly related to manufacturing. And I know there's quite a few of you that have done a significant amount of cutting out of your final product, preparation of materials. So there's actually quite a lot you can include if you've already made a start on that. So as you can see, very similar to section C. There are actually 7 distinct bullet points on this area, but it is worth the same amount of marks. So we're looking at the top band criteria. So this video is going to focus on going through the criteria, me giving you an explanation of what that criteria is, what it means, how I interpret it, which will hopefully help you understand it a little bit. And of course, you can stop this video, you can pause it, you can rewind it, and it might prompt some questions, and you can send myself and Mr. Pierce some questions if you wish. So we'll start with the first bullet point, and that is, I'll just read it. So it says, excellent justification provided for selection of appropriate materials and components and proposed techniques and processes, demonstrating an excellent understanding of material properties to ensure excellent quality prototypes that are fit for purpose. So if we break that down, excellent justification provided for selection of appropriate materials. So you need to demonstrate somewhere that you have specifically decided on certain materials that you're going to use in your project and why you've decided on those materials, how you justify that over other materials that might be available. So you need to think about materials that might be not available in the workshop. They might be expensive. It might be time consuming to get a hold of them. It might be to do with the material's properties that you need to use a specific material, which demonstrates an excellent understanding of material properties to ensure excellent quality prototypes that are fit for purpose. So a huge chunk of the theory is understanding material properties. And there are a huge amount of materials to understand and to know about when it comes to your exam. One way in which this is tested in the controlled assessment is through section D, where they're basically, the examiner is having a good look at how are you able to distinguish what materials are the best materials to use in your project and why. And it boils down to your knowledge of the mechanical properties of different materials, and how your knowledge has influenced that material selection. And that needs to come through strongly. So I would strongly suggest having some sort of material justification selection slide, which is going to address this first bullet point, is really important. And then including in that, making it very clear where it says here in the bottom line, how this is going to impact on you having a quality prototype versus using other alternative materials. So we're just going to scroll down now to bullet point 2, which is significant complexity of or challenge is involved through the production of prototype. The student demonstrates excellent manufacturing skills combined with an excellent understanding of the need for dimensional accuracy and precision. So what they're looking for here is that, first of all, there's a specific or very clear challenge to your product throughout the whole thing. So the prototype should not be too simple. Of course, you may have purposely simplified your idea through the development process, but the overall product should still be quite complex. The prototype itself should be quite complex. The student demonstrates excellent manufacturing skills. That should be displayed through your diary making. So there should be a very clear diary or journal in your slides, which indicate how you've gone about manufacturing, what skills you've used, what tools you've used, what equipment you've used, how you've integrated computer-aided design and computer-aided manufacturing in your product, and also intertwined those traditional hand skills as well. It is important, says at the bottom there, that the need for dimensional accuracy and precision. You need to try your best to demonstrate that you have got quality control checks in place throughout the process, that you are being technical in your language, that you are specifically referencing millimeters and you're sticking to the working drawing. You might make references to your engineering drawings, and how your actual product manufacture is in line with your actual work and drawing there as well. The next point is that the student has selected and used appropriate tools, machinery and equipment, including CAM where required, and worked with a high level of skill, precision and accuracy to produce a prototype. So a lot of that I've already mentioned about the accuracy side of things. And again, that can be demonstrated through your diary making, which is going to make up the bulk of this particular section. But it's important as well to highlight that you have used a specific tool for a reason. So you don't just say, oh, I'm using the multicam router, but why are you using the multicam router over cutting a piece of MDF out with a jigsaw, for example? What's the benefit in terms of accuracy, precision, design that the multicam has over the jigsaw? It's important that although a lot of your project may be produced using CAD/CAM, that you might want to really kind of emphasize any hand tools that you've used there as well. That's important. The examiner will like to see a wide range of skills being used. Prototypes fully address the design brief, satisfying all major points of the specification, and take into account all amendments, modifications to their original design proposals as necessary. So your design brief that you wrote way back when in section B, your prototype needs to fully address this, all aspects of it. Don't leave any section out. If there is anything left out, then you need to be able to justify that in your evaluation. You need to be able to satisfy all major points of your specification. It's important to distinguish that that's not all of the specification. It's the key points. There is a bit more leeway with the other lesser points in your specification, which again you can justify in your evaluation if you have altered or made some changes there. But it's really important that any modifications, as it says here, that you take into account all amendment modifications to the original design. So you're constantly making the examiner aware, or whoever's viewing your work aware, that you have had to make changes and why, and you're justifying that throughout. What we don't want to see is big wholesale changes in section D compared to what you've said you're going to do in section A, B and C, and nowhere along the line have you said, oh, I've changed this because of whatever reason. So you need to make that clear. Okay, the last 3 points. Students makes all required modifications to their prototype in a fully considered manner in light of feedback from user trials and third-party feedback. As a result of testing and evaluation carried out against earlier interactions of the prototype. So a lot of these changes that may be made in section D will have come from what you've learned about in section C in the development stage. And it should be highlighted through either client feedback or your comments of liaison with teacher, video evidence of testing, that you've had to make necessary changes and fully explain the reasons why there. The last 2 bullet points then, first one is quality assurance is evident throughout, and it is clear where planned quality control checks have been applied throughout the process to ensure consistency and safety. So the big difference there is quality assurance, which is the system you've put in place to assure quality throughout the manufacturing process. So what system are you putting in place from the outset? What things are you putting in place to ensure that you will have a quality outcome from the start? And then within that system, what quality control checks are you having? So at what points are you going to check the quality? So assurance is the system, the overall quality system, like a factory would have, for example. Worth maybe having a little read over your quality assurance, quality control notes on this if you're unsure. And then quality control is the specific tests that you carry out to ensure to assure the quality. Last point then is clear evidence throughout the manufacturing process that appropriate health and safety processes have been both considered and employed. So really this focuses on health and safety comments, which you'd be familiar with in a typical diary of making sure that's clear. It would be worth, again, reading over your health and safety notes, referring to specific health and safety guidance, acts, all that kind of stuff. That's where A-level work will be distinguished. And the same goes for quality control, referring to the ISOs, health and safety, referring to the different health and safety acts, and making that a part of your technical descriptions. That's really, really important, guys. Okay, so I can't emphasize that enough on those last two. Now, I don't think we're going to get enough time in this video, so I'm going to make a separate short video now of examples, set examples for Section D, and talk over them. And what you hopefully will be able to see after you've listened to this video and you watch the next video and listen to that as well, you'll be able to see what I mean in terms of where these bullet points for this top mark criteria will be actioned in these examples. All right. The main thing I would say to emphasize just before this video finishes is that documentation wise, you're looking for a material justification at the beginning, followed by a very comprehensive diary of making, but you need to include all aspects of what I've mentioned in your diary of making, or otherwise you will lose marks. Okay, hopefully